Welcome to Able Pathways podcast. I'm Annabelle Ferber, founder of Able Pathways, where we provide executive function coaching for neurodiverse individuals and professional development for educators. Our podcast explores the windy journeys of learning and growth. Each episode, we travel the unique pathways taken by a diverse range of interesting people as they reflect on pivotal moments in their lives that led to unexpected insights and transformation. Through these conversations, we hope to illuminate the infinite pathways for how we grow and learn. Visit our show notes for links, information about our speakers, and resources mentioned on this episode. Amit's story is one of intentional growth and self-reflection. Early on, he realized that the path he was on, studying engineering, wasn't aligned with who he wanted to become. Choosing to switch his major to psychology became a defining moment, teaching him the importance of self-awareness, listening to himself, and having the courage to change direction. Along the way, Amit has been deliberate about surrounding himself with people he admires, seeking mentorship, building relationships, and leaning on those who believe in him. Recently, he entered into a meaningful new chapter in his life by becoming a Canadian permanent resident, a milestone that gave him stability, freedom, and space to reflect on how far he's come and where he wants to go next. This conversation is about growth, curiosity, and the inner shifts that shape who we become over time. All right. So, Amit, before we dive into our main conversation today, I would love to hear what's been capturing your attention. What are you watching, reading, listening to these days?
Yeah, great question. Over the past few months, I've been spending a lot of time, I would say, researching latest innovations in the world. But one of my interests is stablecoins. The US recently passed an act called the Genius Act, where people can exchange digital dollars for the US dollars, and that can be sent cross country anywhere. Um, in seconds instead of compared to you it taking 2 to 5 days for payments to settle. And yeah, I just love that the payment industry is evolving and getting more efficient. One of the things I think highlight is that, and I wish I'd known this before, and this technology was available before. Like 10 years ago, it cost like 67 rupees to buy $1. So when I'd come from my education 10 years ago, it costs, let's say, 20 lakhs, right? But right now, in today's date, $1 is, I pay $90, 90 rupees to buy $1. So right now, that same education is costing me 30 lakhs.
Yeah.
But if I had a stable coin, which is basically $1, in today's date, I would still pay 20 lakhs that I paid 10 years ago. So that's, I think, one of the big benefits of stablecoin technology that I think can help like millions of like students in third world countries. Their currencies are degrading.
I see. So would it be insane to relate that to like a forever stamp? Are you familiar with those?
I'm not. Tell me about it.
It's just conceptually, I wonder if it's similar, but like you can go to the post office and buy forever stamps, and it doesn't matter if 10 years from now the price of stamps go up. A forever stamp holds the value of where you are in the current time, regardless of what you paid for it. It is
Yes.
similar to what you
Similar, yeah.
Okay. Anything that you for pleasure, or are you just sort of nerding out on stablecoin stuff right now?
Well, this is pleasure for me. I love my research. Um I really am also loving listening to like podcasts and videos and keynotes for like how AI is transforming businesses. So right now, all we know is AI is like chat GPT. You just like type it and gives you an answer. Then the next phase of which I'm interested in is like how it's transforming businesses. Like with like a few, let's say, shots, AI can create full movies for you. And this is changing the film industry. AI can code for you now. And so just all these things I'm geeking out on, I would say.
Very cool. What's a small joy, or simple pleasure that you've experienced recently?
Well, very recently, as of last month, I got my Canadian permanent residency, and it's
Congratulations. Yeah.
for the first time in in my life, it's like stability, you know? In the US, like I had to go from school to school and I had to be on like work visas. But now I don't have to worry about a work visa. There is no end limit. I can just like work and have like a stable life now and not worry
Yeah.
about all the regulations.
That's not a small joy. That feels like a really big one.
Yeah. And very grateful that my girlfriend helped me come here and settle. It would not have been so smooth if I just came alone and had to figure everything out by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's get into it. I'm so curious to catch up with you. You and I met, I think back in 2016 or 2017, somewhere around there, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. And it's been a little while. You've been off getting degrees and moving countries and doing all sorts of things. So, what did you end up focusing on through your schooling that pertains to what you're doing today?
I think I just focused on like what I want, like really trying to ask myself the question, like, what do I want to do in my life and like, what are my interests? So the first phase of my education was understanding like what I wanted to do because my parents they had put me in the engineering route like every like I would say most Indian kids, and because I was apparently good at math and science they're like engineering. So for my first college year I got enrolled into a computer science engineering course and I just hated every bit of it because like I did not like coding, and teachers in my university were just like speaking down like or just a one way, and literally all the students in my class were sleeping right in front of the teacher, and the teacher cannot control anything and they just come and scribble on the boards, and I knew that that was not a learning environment for me and I needed to change things if I wanted to be someone. Like if I wanted to be someone I needed to invest in myself like right now. And so I asked a couple of mentors, I asked Mr. L what I should do, and yeah, he recommended coming to one of a like a pretty good university in near Boston called Salem State. And I had just finished my first year, right? And I had 2 months or 3 months till the next semester started. So I didn't even I told my mom either I'm dropping out or I'm going to this place. In 3 months I got my visa, my flights, everything, and I just packed and then and that's my journey.
Never look back?
Never look back. I'm here 10 years.
Yeah. That's amazing. So, what did you get interested in?
So now I knew I did not like coding or engineering. So now it was time to find out like what I wanted to do in life, right? And
Yeah.
so I got interested in organizational psychology and like self development because I knew that I needed to develop my social skills, my work ethic, and I just took up psychology in at Salem State. So how did I even find psychology? One of the advice I got from my mentors is just interview every chairperson of all the departments and then see which one you like. So I did that.
Mhm.
There were like 12 departments. I set up meetings with the 12 chairs and I interviewed every one of them.
What a
And
good idea.
so it came down to philosophy or psychology. I asked the chairperson, do I need to come to college to learn philosophy? He said, no, you can just read books and experience life and, you can. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, so psychology it was. And there we go.
So, you interviewed all these department heads, you resonated with psychology, so you finish up a bachelor's in organizational psychology or psychology in general, something like
So, yeah,
that?
so general psychology, I finished in general psychology, right? But I mean, and then the pandemic hit. And as an international student, after graduating college, you need a job. Else you will not survive in America. Like you will need to go home.
Yeah.
And I graduated in December 2019, and the pandemic hit
Oh
around
my
January 2020, right?
yes. Mhm. Mhm.
And so my choices were find a job or like somehow make money, or you gotta, So I somehow, some way with the like advice of my mentors, I was able to start an IT company only because in my like no one was offering IT support to elders. And even today, like it is so hard. Like elders will not come to a IT shop to get help. Like it's just like hard to mobilize themselves. They did not know what to say, how to say things. And I knew that I need money. I had computer science skills from my computer science engineering days.
Yeah.
So just started in IT business, and that really helped me pay rent. And I ran that for 2 years, and that was learned so much in that experience.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Then what?
And so I went
Yeah.
to Northeastern. I got my graduate certificate in business administration because my
Oh,
goal was to do an MBA.
uh-huh.
And I wanted to go more in the direction of organization, help
Yes.
organizations, right? And that was
Yeah.
always my goal.
Yeah.
One of my amazing mentors, Martin Golding, he really gave me advice on like how to pick the university, like especially financing the university. And yeah, all that is like separate, like nuances, but and doing Northeastern for 1 year, it gave me another year of work visa. And then I applied to like 1,000 applications after my graduation, and I got one Boston University. I got to meet amazing professors there. I worked for them, and I think this was my like real getting into like a real job, you know.
Yeah.
So worked there for 2 years, and then went back to get my MBA because you know why. And yeah, so now I have an MBA, and I was so fortunate to get this current job I have as a value advisor, which is like a management consultant, and which
Yeah.
is what I wanted to do. Like this is like people here, they really go out and consult companies on how do you transform yourself, and even like
Mm.
people, how do you change your behavior to be more efficient, more
Mhm.
yeah. And it's just like this is like a different, I would say, not just like class of people, but like everyone that I work with has a background in like a McKinsey or a EY, all these like stacked resumes, you know, and it's just good to be mentored by them. And I think it's a great
Mm.
opportunity for myself.
Mhm. How's your understanding of yourself and, like, the way that you learn and grow? How has that changed? Because 'Cause you've been through a lot of different learning environments and focuses in your life as you transformed into what more of what you wanted to be. What would you say is, like, shifted the most for you in your understanding of yourself?
I think for me, like really learning how to be considerate of like how people are thinking and feeling, that was like one of my biggest learnings. And I think
Mm.
once, because earlier in my life, I was making decisions without that I would say, I call it data, but I was not taking their like reactions or whatever into account of like how I was making decisions. And that was, and then I got to know that through feedback from my mentors that I needed to work on that. For a couple of years, I did work on that, and that really shifted how my relationships transformed and the new relationships I made. So that's one. Something else that changed is I learned to prioritize in life and not like pick my battles. And I didn't have to like go into every rabbit hole or debate everything. And yeah. And I think that really helped me. Like,
Yeah. I could see how important that skill is in the work that you do now too, and picking up on the verbal information, but also the nonverbal information.
I
Yeah.
know, right? Nonverbal is like so important to learn.
And it's like a spoken language. It kinda changes a little culture to culture, like the way people express their happiness or dissatisfaction or feeling uncomfortable can kinda look different in different cultures, right?
Yes, yes. So I think like in America, like, I stayed with the host family, and thankfully like I found them, and yeah, I mean they're American, so like the way they do things are different.
Mhm.
And like more like I would say more privacy, more like respect for like space. And I think in my like Marwari culture, like we have less like privacy, like we can just like walk in and just like start talking, and it's very like loud, I would say, you know, but it's like a very um thoughtful approach in America where you respect boundaries and everything. So
Well, I mean, America's really big too. It's right what you just described sounds more of a like a Northeast kinda
yes,
culture.
Northeast culture, right?
um, because it gets louder and less private in different areas of the country, right? It's really
I
interesting.
bet.
But still, there is like a unifying culture of being more demonstrative. There are definitely a lot of other cultures where you're not supposed to like show all of your emotions all the time. How did you learn? How did you learn that when you realized you wanted to get better at it?
Amazing question. That is so cool. Okay. So what happened was that so I took like some of the instances where I made mistakes or like which did not go well with other people, right? So I'd taken these as like case studies. So with every situation, I discussed everything that happened, like sequence by sequence. And then I asked them, hey, what could I have done better? What could I have done better? I could apply this one situation with like, if similar things happen with other people, I could apply this in like lots of other situations. And I think like skill by skill, I try, and situation by situation, I develop enough of the skills to be, yeah, to make myself better. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Practice, repetition, analysis, self reflection, seeking guidance.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. What did you notice as like things really started to click for you and you built that inner habit? What changed in your relationships with people like the most profoundly?
Uh, I think it paved the opportunity to collaborate on, like, for my other relationships, like collaborating on bigger things, like doing projects together, um, and collaborating on creating a business. Like, for example, I was able to help at least start an initiative called Sikkim to Salem, and I was comfortable reaching out to people and using the skills I learned to like develop relationships for them to onboard them to the project. And this would not have happened if I was just like oblivious to how they were thinking and feeling when, you cannot have a
Mhm.
business relationship when you do not know how to talk, I would say.
And I don't have a lot of experience with the business world, but from the outside looking in, it seems a highly social type of industry to be in. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the most important things in business is having social skills and ability to navigate people and manage.
yeah.
I think it's who you know, not what you know. Like that's, well, I just want to think about the most profound thing that
Yeah.
you ask. What is the most profound? I think the most profound thing is like I do not feel uncomfortable talking to people now, because
Yeah.
I always like, when I started to know that I was like not good and still building my social skills, I would say, whenever I was like talking to people, I would have like constantly analyze while I was talking to them, and now it's like no more. I can just like speak
So it's
calmly,
fluent. Yeah, like
way
learning
more.
a
Right?
language. Yeah. In the executive function world, like your cognitive flexibility skills are strong, which is time and repetition and access to opportunities to practice it. But it helps you move through the world just so much more confidently as well when you know that, yeah, you might miss things, especially if you're tired, but like for the most part, you're understanding what's happening beyond the words that people use. And I do think for human beings, words are so important, but I think it's a much smaller part of like what people are picking up. They are looking at your body language and the tone of your voice and what you're wearing and like so much other information that is important to the conversation too, that's not being said out loud.
And I love that you get that, and you have helped people build that to some extent.
So you've traveled this fascinating path. You've lived in lots of different cultures and countries and places.
I do have a question for you though. What got you into executive function coaching and the work that you're doing today?
Hey, this is my podcast, Amit. Okay, let's put a pin in that because
Okay, okay,
it's a very long story, but I would be happy to answer it. But I wanted to
okay, okay.
follow up with you on like what do you love about consulting? Like, why did that really click for you? That
Yeah,
particular kind of role?
I've thought about that, like throughout, like increasing the quality of life of someone or a entire organization is what drives me to consulting. If I can help improve, like it's like stressful to do things manually, like constantly updating Excel sheets, and that, like, imagine the toll like it might take on a person if they do it every day. But if I
Mm,
can help that be like more efficient, that takes a toll off a person, that person can do something more creative in the organization. Why are you spending your time just doing data entry? And so like it's
mhm.
like some things like this. Other things that interest me in consulting is I have helped people like what education pathway you might want to take, like how mentors have done it for me, like
Yeah.
how I can do it for others, and what jobs you might want to, like, so really like helping a person understand like what career choices or life choices they want to make, and it helps them increase the quality of life. Hopefully that's my, I would say, passion. And one of like my side projects is helping kids from students from Sikkim or like maybe India to get access to quality education, because I think good education affects, like, I believe good education affects your quality of life. If I can help them, so I got a great education at Salem State. right?
Mhm.
And I tried to build a partnership with Salem State, and where kids from Sikkim can come to Salem State to study here and get access to good education. So I think, yeah, it just stems out of increasing people's quality of life.
Yeah, that's really impactful. Like that's very oriented, almost like a service. Like you want to be of service to others in a way, which is not really how people talk about business in general. I love like also just like the freedom of like a consulting type of role too. And the way that yes, you can like build systems and templates, but consulting also comes down to the individual business or the individual organization or people there, and you get to like really hone in on like
Mm,
what they need, and it becomes very, I think, social. Like, and
yeah.
using your psychology skills as well. And wait, how many degrees do you have? I felt like
Uh,
you mentioned like 2 or 3 there.
so a bachelor's in science and psychology, a graduate certificate in business administration, and an MBA. So three so far.
3 so far? Okay. So I wanna hear a little bit about, like, what do you love about what you're doing now? What energizes you? What makes you happy that you're in your job?
I think the people in the job make me happy. I've loved building like strong relationships, and I feel that they are committed to my success. And my current boss, he literally helped me find a home in Canada. And he recommended me to his Canadian counterpart who helped me get this job. And so really like investing in me. And I
Mhm.
have another colleague who has mentored me on the exact skills and processes and how to consult properly. And yeah, I just love working with good people and
Yeah. I
something
don't
good.
I was just gonna say, I don't think we talk enough when we're talking about our careers, how important it is, like, the culture fit.
Yeah.
Um, whether it's coming from, like, thinking about designing your career, like you're a career designer for yourself, which I do like that approach a lot. Yeah, what kind of people do you wanna work with? What kind of environment do you wanna work in? Is almost more important a question than, like, "What are you doing?" Because any job is going to have fun parts and less fun parts, and it's going to have administrative work. There's no escaping that totally, but you still need to be, like, intrinsically, internally motivated, to get through the hard stuff, so it sounds like there's a culture fit here too, not just a skill fit. Yeah.
Big culture fit. I love people with.
Yeah. What are you as you're looking to your own future, like, what are you most intrigued by these days? What are you working towards or hoping to get into?
I am working towards how do I be the best consultant in that, like not best, not in the sense of like competing with others necessarily, but like what it takes, like what skills are required for me to be the most effective when I'm talking to these companies, to these people. How can I best help them? And that is my single focus, I would say, for the next how much ever time until I become that so that I can and I think you just like rinse and repeat. Like it'll take a lot of practice and skill building. So that's my focus right
Mhm,
now.
mhm. Yeah, you're just at the start of this journey, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Something that
Um,
also piques my
yeah.
interest now is investing, finding great companies who are doing great things for the world. And also, but also like I have to make sure that I am managing my finances properly. Like, and it's just like how do I invest effectively? That is also another interest of mine, I would say.
If someone who didn't know anything about investing, someone being me, were to ask you, um what advice do you give someone who's like a total novice? Like, you know more than them, but like, where's a good starting place for someone to start understanding this stuff that might just feel very alien?
I make this great question, right? And I have an approach to how I would tell what I would tell people like yourself. Let's take my girlfriend's mom, who I just helped, right? She knows nothing about investing, nothing else. So what people like? What is the best advice is just invest in an ETF, which is like a basket of like the top 500 companies in the world, and that is considered the safest way to be investing in the stock market, and you don't even have to like worry about it. Just invest, like set an automated schedule of investing. And for the past, I would say 40 years, every year your money has appreciated 10%. And there's been like a lot of like research podcasts, and Warren Buffett, who I also like follow. Like just
Yeah.
like yeah, just like same advice. Just and all your four. I don't. Do you know what's it for? It's a 401.
Mhm.
Your
Yeah,
four hundred
because
one
in a
ks.
401k, you can pick up a thing like that you just described of like,
Yeah,
I don't have time to research companies and stuff.
yeah,
Like, you just throw it into a bucket of like successful company bucket, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the concept. Because if you just hold your money in cash, your cash is depreciating due to inflation about 2 to 3% every year, depending on what country you are in. You need
Hmm.
to like invest in a good cash is an asset class, and investing in companies is an asset class, right? So I would always recommend investing in the a safe like asset class.
Wait, say those letters again.
So an ETF is called an electronic traded fund.
Thank
It's
you.
a basket. So and the safest one of them is called SPY,
And what does that stand for?
the S&P 500. So the Standard and Poor 500, which is the just top 500 companies in the world, you get that
Hmm.
basket, and so
See,
that's my
that
recommendation for you.
that feels like very easy to do. I mean, not that easy, but like a lot easier than like you should read the paper every day and look for what companies are doing and who is the CEO and like, like who has time for that?
Yeah, unless you're like passionate or like that's your job, like I don't think you do it, which is why for most people, just investing in a safe ETF is the way to
Yeah.
go.
Or you hire a consultant who can
Like
tell
Amit.
you, like yourself. Okay. Wait, let's shout out. I mean, what's the name of the company you're working for
Uh, it's
or
called
with?
SAP. That's the company I'm working for, and amazing company, great people, and yeah, we're really helping transform. I would say how businesses are run more efficiently. So, yes, yes, yes.
5 years from now, it's going to be 2030, 2031. Where would you like to be?
I would like to be financially stable, become much more effective at being a consultant, build like while I'm in Canada now, so start building again new relationships and a community around me. I think take care of my family more and maybe do something for other people in a much more effective way, like a meaningful way. I think those would be my in 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were to go back 5 years and meet yourself, what advice would you give 5 years younger Amit?
My goodness. I think 5 years ago I would just say like keep doing what you're doing, because in that 5 years ago I was just like in complete like learning mode, right? But
Mm,
if I had to go 10 or 15 years ago,
okay.
I
Yeah.
for to that person I would say start understanding what you do not know, start getting feedback earlier on in who you are. Yeah, and yeah, that's advice I would give.
That like opportunities for self-reflection and it
Yeah, and just
sounds
like
like you asked other people to give you feedback too, which is
yeah.
unusual. I think that's a really brave thing to do. What prompted that for you?
Well, because I knew that I would not be able to see who like am and the things that I am lacking, right? And I trusted some people who I know only want the best for me, and so that prompted me and I wanted to get better. And I actually one of the other things is that I wanted to be like some of the people that I admired,
Mm, mhm.
and I'm like, okay, what can I do to get better? Hopefully, I didn't that I want to be like you. I'm like I want to have some skills that you have. So how
Yeah.
can I get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is that I also did not have like things like embarrassment. I didn't feel embarrassment to get when I was like made mistakes or things like that. I don't know.
Mm.
It's maybe something like chemical in the brain or whatever it is, but like I have a higher tolerance for making mistakes.
That sounds like a strength, maybe.
It is right.
This is so interesting, and I'm so glad that like you're on this journey, you're figuring out, and in so many ways you are carrying forward probably the analytical skills you picked up in the engineering kind of spaces you were in at one point, and obviously the inner work that you did too. But you're using the psychology stuff, you're using the business stuff, you're really using all of these threads that you've been building over your lifetime. I'm so excited to see where you go next, and what
Me
evolves from
too.
here.
Me too.
God bless Canada. They're lucky to have you. I'm glad you're there. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm grateful to Canada for giving me an opportunity, to
Yeah.
be here.
We love Canada.
We love Canada. Come to Canada.
Are there organizations that are doing good work that you'd like to give a shout out to? And so I would include this in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes. So I started the podcast by giving a shout out to Save Stablecoins, right? This one organization called Circle Internet Group. They are creating the stablecoins and giving third world countries access to dollars, which are the most stable form of currency. So I would give a shout out to them. Innovative Learning Institutes, I think that's an organization by Mr. L. And really helping the community in Sikkim become entrepreneurs and start their own projects. I think those are the two.
Mm-hmm.
And one last one is Able Pathways.
I haven't heard of them. What do they do?
So they are great podcast people, you know.
Side job coaching. Yeah. Thank you.
Let's go Able Pathways.
So this is fantastic. And it's been so nice to catch up with you. I'm
You
so
too.
glad you're doing so well. You're just blossoming over there in Ottawa and figuring stuff out and yet again adjusting beautifully to a whole new culture. You seem to do that quite gracefully.
I try, just, and yeah, thank you for helping me earlier on in my journey in life. And I really appreciate that. I still talk about that to my girlfriend and other people and who need help, executive
Oh,
function, one of
cool.
the great ways to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just, yeah, great to connect with you as always.
Yeah.
So.
If you've enjoyed today's discussion, I invite you to share this episode and subscribe to Able Pathways podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps us to share these meaningful conversations with more people. Visit ablepathways.com or check out the detailed show notes for links to resources and organizations mentioned in today's episode. Have thoughts about this episode or suggestions for future guests? We would love to hear from you. Leave us a comment or email us at hello@ablepathways.com. Until next time, I'm Annabelle, reminding you that there are infinite pathways to growth. May you travel yours with curiosity and courage.